Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live, and a very special day today. Halfway through the month of December, it's wake-up time. If you haven't gotten those presents, why wait to the last minute? Today could be the beginning of getting that list together. And two people on my favorite list, Dr. Sheri, Keffer, Dr. Alice Benton. Hi there.
You guys doing all right? I made it onto the list this year. Yes, I did not reach the favorite list last year.
No, I had to write a book with you before you got on the list. So that's the way it goes. Anyway, Dr. Sheri Keffer is the author of Intimate Betrayal.
Or Intimate Deception.
Intimate Deception.
That's okay. Intimate Deception. Healing the wounds of sexual betrayal. But it's intimate deception is what it is. It's secret. I mean, They know what they're doing. That's why deception is so painful. No one's holding their arm behind their back. There is choice involved, and it's choice that happens without your knowledge. There was no consent, and that's where the wound comes in. The betrayal in and of itself is wounding, but what I found is that 65% of the women that I researched said it's the deception that actually hurts even more than the acts that were done. It's that lying, deceiving, covering up, gaslighting.
And then also the person betrays you and then blames you for the betrayal.
Right.
That's so common. Anyway, I usually don't get your title wrong anymore because of just the initial ID, because this helps you to identify what this feeling really is that I have here. And it's a great way to enter into the healing process. And then here it is, Christmas. A lot of kids, they'd like to have a phone and a lot of other things. And Alice co-authored the book, Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World. And what's behind those screens, that is not pretty.
And parents have a lot more power in this area than they give themselves credit for or even recognize. Because if we want our children to clean up their digital content, one of the best ways is actually to start with cleaning up our own digital content and evaluating how we're using our screens, how we're using our phones. And parents, it is okay to say no and not yet when your children ask again and again for a phone. I just heard from a mother recently that in her high school, she doesn't know of one family who limits their child's phone use. They're not even limiting it at all. So we know, Steve, that children have their phone in their bedrooms with them at night, that there's hardly any, not yours, not mine either, there's hardly any even parental monitoring. Parents, we have the authority and we can reclaim it, even if your children already have too much of their own ownership of their phone.
Yep. Well, we've got a big responsibility as parents. I have two teenagers still at home, so we just have to continue to find the right thing to do. I will mention this too. If everybody's celebrating Christmas and you find yourself not so big on Christmas, you might even say it's a spiritual reason, but in reality, maybe there was a horrible thing in your childhood. And so then now everybody is suffering for your suffering that has never been healed. I would really look at that. If you shun what's going on in the holidays, maybe it's tapping into an old wound that you really could do something about that. And then the following Christmas, everything could be different for everyone. It is so important that we see ourselves. And sometimes you can't until you ask somebody, tell me what you see. And they can really help you live a different life. We'll be back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Well, we are back, and we do have a matching fund now of over $200,000 will be matched, and we're very excited about that. And you could be part of that matching fund. All you have to do is text the word MATCH to these numbers, 28950, 28950, 28950. If you're watching on YouTube, it's right there. It's easy to do. Or you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we can do it that way. But so much of what we're going to do next year depends on how things go at the end of the year. And so please help us if you possibly can. We would love that. And we pray that God will bless you greatly. Misty and me, we made our gift and decided how we can support New Life throughout the next 2 years. I would hope that you could do that too. If you've benefited from the program or anything that we've done, I hope you can help us reach more people.
Steve, I was one of those listeners who benefited over and over again, but never gave back. And I needed so many nudges before I finally opened up the pockets to give back to New Life. And yet you won't regret it when you finally do. So if you need a nudge like I did, let this be it. You will be contributing to life-changing ministry.
Well, we had to get you on the program to get you to give, and we just don't have that many slots for people.
And you know what? I cannot not give during the match. I mean, the idea that $1 equals 2, it just is such a good stewardship to look at what's there and a gift during this period of time where you have somebody who's donated generously a large $200,000 with the idea that it's going to be doubled if we can just reach that point. And so now is the time to give. Think about it. $1 equals 2, and it's great to be a good steward, you know? Or a good steward, however you want to say that.
And how many times in the Bible does God ever say, hey, test me on this? And in Malachi, God says, I'm going to bless you beyond anything you could imagine, but test me on it. And we've talked about Indiana Jones. My letter last month was about Indiana Jones, where he's got to step out over the cavern for the bridge to appear. If he doesn't step, he never sees that there really is a bridge there that's invisible. He puts his foot down, and there it is. He's on solid footing. And that's what the Bible is all about when it says that faith is the evidence of all the things you've hoped for. It kind of doesn't make sense unless you understand you have to act in faith, then the evidence of all of the blessings and the result of your faith happen. But if you're never stepping out, taking a risk on God and in faith acting responsibly, you won't experience those blessings that are promised. That's just the way it is. Now, those aren't financial blessings. I mean, that might be for some, but it's blessings in so many other ways. I'll tell you a blessing we're experiencing. We have a 14 and a 17-year-old, and we absolutely love being with them. A lot of people, they tell me not so much in their family. And we love these kids, and we enjoy them, and there's a lot of laughter, and we do stuff together. That's a blessing. That's not financial, but I tell you, I'll take it over finances any day. So help us if you can. It's a match. I think you know that God's going to match your faith also. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to do that. Now, let's go to the phones, and how about we start with Tanya, New York City. She watches on YouTube. Glad that she does. Hi, Tanya. How are you, and how could we help you today?
Yeah, hi, Steve and everybody. I just want you to know I think you guys are doing a great job. I became a New Life member because you guys are really doing God's work, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. My question is this. I have a 17-year-old daughter who I discovered wrote on her roommate profile for university that she's gender fluid.
Okay.
And so, yeah, now she suffers from depression and anxiety. She's on medication. She's gone through DBT, et cetera. You know, my husband and I also went through DBT with her. And so, you know, it's at a point now where I just want her to kind of just come clean about things because I think that that's part of her depression, anxiety. Like, she has a lot of shame. She's carrying a lot of stuff inside. So I just rather get the elephant, you know, deal with the elephant in the room and discuss it with her when she comes home for Christmas break. But I wasn't sure if I should do that and just let sleeping dogs lie and just let her come to me.
Okay, great question. I have a definite opinion. I'll save it. Let's start with you, Alice. What are you thinking here? Should she, I mean, it was posted, and should she just bring it up?
Tanya, what's your hesitation to ask about it? What are you most worried will happen? That will be a negative reaction on your daughter's part.
I'm concerned that she'll just shut down. Part of her issue with my husband and I is that, you know, we were invalidating to her in the past, not really knowing. Obviously, it wasn't malicious, but through DBT, we learned about that. And so we've gotten a lot better and the relationship is closer. But I'm afraid she's going to lie because I asked her about it before she left for school. She didn't know I knew about it, and she said that, no, that wasn't true. So I'm concerned that she'll self-harm because she has a history of that, and it'll just increase her anxiety.
So you asked her about it. What did you ask? What was the sentence?
Well, I think I was talking about something, like maybe there was somebody on YouTube about this, and I was like, well, could you explain this to me or whatever? And then I asked her, well, are you gender fluid? So it wasn't direct. I admit it wasn't direct.
So you were fishing. You had seen it on her profile, but you weren't honest. You were fishing, right? So that's deceptive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of just being honest. Honey, I wasn't honest with you. And I need to own that. I'm very sorry. That wasn't upfront, and you deserve better than that.
Okay.
I noticed on the profile, your roommate profile, that you said gender fluid. Mm-hmm. I'm curious about that and what that means.
Okay. And, honey, you know that nothing you could do is ever going to cause me or your father to reject you or dislike you or whatever. Just because, we don't think certain things are God's best doesn't mean that our love is ever going to get weaker for you. I don't want you to worry about that. So she needs that reassurance.
Yep.
Because a person how old is she now?
She's 17.
Okay, she's 17. So she's spent at least 5 years social media telling her that every conservative value that anybody has is stupid. Parents that have those values are old-fashioned. They're not sensitive to where people really are. So that's what's owned our kids and is owning our kids. And it's really important that we can help them understand a different way starting early age. I remember saying to Solomon when he was asking about different laws and rules and stuff, I said, well, the light bulb came on to me when I was told about the difference between a moral rule or law that is forever and a cultural rule or regulation or law. Then everything started to make sense to me. And at this point, the only thing that's going to make sense to her is, I love you, and I love you enough to know that no lecture coming out of my mouth is going to help you. But that doesn't mean you can't suggest that she listen to somebody who was gender fluid and realize that they were really a part of a kind of a deceptive system that led them to believe that this was okay. And there are many of those. And many of those folks have already transitioned in their fluidity and regret it. But you're not going to hear about those folks from secular media. Okay, I've said enough. Sheri, what are you thinking? Alice, what should she do?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just to encourage your heart, there's conversations out there that are showing that teens like your daughter can say gender fluid, and yes, they are going to experiment with their gender. There's a lot of gender confusion out there, but that over that 5-6 year period of time, they can also settle back into being gender specific. And I think we forget that at times. We kind of become very fearful, like this is, and I'm not saying that where she's going to end up, but there is a ton of experimentation, to Steve's point, cultural induced confusion, like a Coke machine. Kids have been raised, and we're going to see more and more of this, sadly. That they've been raised with Coke machines, like, what gender are you? You get to pick. Do you want, like, Dr. Pepper? Like, am I he, she, her?
Exactly.
It's all of that. And I think there's just a long game in this that we need to be present and honest and loving and accepting as they're moving through that.
But when you say accept it, because I don't accept it, I mean, in a sense of, like, I don't think there's a such thing. I think it is a delusion. So I guess how should I be accepting? That's the part I'm a little confused about.
You don't have to accept gender fluidity. You can hold on to two genders. When I say accepting, I mean loving her, being there for her, not going into an arm wrestling match around whether gender fluidity is a thing or not. It just leads to nowhere land, because they are, it's as much of a thing as a nose on their face. But holding on to your truth about male and female genders is way okay. And there's a pull from them. There is a pull. They want you to believe gender fluidity, like the nose on their face. But we don't have to. We don't have to move 1 minute away from whatever it is that you believe. You can hold on to that.
What you're saying, Sheri, is true. This concept of been there, done that actually is part of human nature. You think, wow, what would that be like? And then, well, it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be like.
Right.
But
exactly.
I really think that the big challenge, and here's what I hear sometimes from parents: how can I love this child when? And so it might be transgender, gender fluid, whatever. And that question disturbs me, because you love them exactly the same way you loved them before you knew that. And I do, I call the whole transgender crisis trend gender. And there are many people that get caught up in some of the sites there where everybody is transgender, and then they look and see that, well, maybe I don't have so much in common with them, and I'm not having to just fall in line and comply with all the things that they think. The author Sprinkle also has a great podcast, and I would look for that, and that will help you and encourage you. Anything else that we want to add here? We're not saying accept whatever it is your child is into, but be sure you're 100% accepting of your child. accepting the child, isn't approving of everything the child does either. And just like God's love is unconditional, God's approval is not unconditional. And we can do a lot of things in that God would respond with, I do approve, and I want the best for you as you go down that path. All right, if you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That is the phone number to call. We would love to help you. We have a lot of resources. And sometimes Take Your Life Back is a great one for anything where you got a child or spouse or you get caught up in something. And you find that, well, what it was something, now it's kind of everything. It owns you. You can take your life back. We'll take a break and come right back after this. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and when Jesus has your heart changes. And often it changes the way we view money. Jesus had dinner with a little guy named Zacchaeus, and all of a sudden, this man obsessed with money wanted to give half of everything he had to the poor, and those he cheated, give them 4 times as much as he had taken. You see, he wasn't worried about giving too much. He was worried about doing the right thing. I don't know of anybody who's ever given too much. As much as we give, we receive right back in blessings. Please help us here at year end.
To make your tax-deductible gift, visit newlife.com and click Donate. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. That's NLM to 28950.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Sheri Keffer, Dr. Alice Benton, and Alice has her own children that she's raising, and so these issues come up. I have teenagers at home. Now, you guys, your child is married now.
Yes, he is, and pregnant. Yeah, they're going to have their first baby in March.
That is
Coleman and Hannah.
Congratulations.
His name is Caius, the little baby to be.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. It means,
So
what does Caius mean? I'll have to look it up while you're doing it. You
Okay.
do your thing.
Alice, at the break, you had some points you wanted to make here.
Well, Steve, you brought up Preston Sprinkle, fabulous author who has so much experience working with this community. And what he has found, and it matches my own experience as well, is that so many people who question their gender do so because they have felt unsafe in their own skin. And given what Tanya shared about her family, that she and her husband were previously invalidating, which can lead to an emotionally unsafe environment. Now, they've done a lot of work, but a couple of ways to handle that and prepare for what will likely be a difficult conversation with their daughter is to first check in on how are we doing being safe in conversation with you, because it's something we still know we need to work on. And then I'd also offer to involve the therapist in the conversation, or involve whomever the daughter wants in the conversation so that she feels safe enough to be able to be honest with her parents. So I'd give those options to her.
Yeah, very good. It's not really a choice if what you're doing is reacting to some kind of sexual trauma that might have happened earlier in life. And that trauma doesn't necessarily even mean that there was some kind of physical sexual act done to you. There are just different ways that can occur. And so sometimes when we discover the fluidity label, we can also realize, well, there may be something else there, and that the person is reacting to that earlier event. And you don't have to react. You can actually heal from that once people know it's there. And how many times have we heard of folks never told their parents about what had happened to them, somebody in the family doing something, or a neighbor? And so what I'm trying to get at is, it would be really great if we could help people heal and provide safety for them to heal. But of course, you could provide the safest of safe homes, and it's still not going to prevent your child from struggling because of social media and friendships that are impacted by social media.
Can I add one thing too,
please,
Steve
do
and Alice? I think I have 100% of those that I've worked with that are in some category that we've been mentioning on the show today. 100% of them believe this: I'm different, I don't belong. And so that acceptance, what I mean is belonging. They need belonging. And so often as parents, we polarize. And because we're trying to stand on the hill and fight for whatever the gender fluidity, we're trying to make a statement, we end up polarizing, and they feel like they don't belong to us anymore. And then the group that they're a part of embraces them. So we lose them. We might be fighting and polarizing, but we'll lose them in the battle of belonging. So they need to know that they still belong to us. We love them. We're not going anywhere.
So, Sheri, I have two brothers, both of them gay. People would say to me, there is this inherited thing, this biological thing. And what I would always say is exactly what you said. I would say, I think if there's any predisposition, it's a predisposition to be rejected or to feel rejected. For instance, growing up in Texas, if you love football and you're a macho guy, maybe not so much rejection. But if you're a person that loves music and dance and other things, then you may feel like I don't fit.
Yeah.
So then you're looking for, where do I fit better?
Yeah.
And then you find a place where it feels better. But if somebody could have helped you see that, well, like in Texas, there are football people and there are non-football people, and the non-football people are wonderful, and we could just, it's like Dr. Green wrote this book, The Sissy Boy Syndrome. He says your son's playing with a doll, and you pick it up and say, boys don't play with dolls. Here's what you could do. You could pick up your boy and play with your boy and experience a connection there, rather than throw the doll across the yard or whatever, which gives them that feeling of, I'm not accepted.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things. People have different opinions. One of the worst opinions is, well, how could I be born this way if I'm not meant to be this way? Well, that presumes that everybody that's born with a birth defect, let's say, it's intended by God for you to have that birth defect, versus in a fallen world, disease, deformity, things like that happen. It's not a perfect world. We're outside the garden. So to say that a person is born this way, and so it's okay because you're born that way, you really have to spend more than 5 minutes thinking that through, what you're really saying there. We'll take a break. We'll come right back for more New Life Live. Glad you're with us today.
We went to the Intimacy and Marriage in 2019. We were both done.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is done? New Life can help. We believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life. Our Intimacy and Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The next Intimacy and Marriage workshop is February 16th to the 18th in Orange County, California. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to experience a new level of intimacy and have a great marriage.
The transformation, phenomenal. It has transformed our lives so much.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. We're right here. And glad you are too. Let me tell you about the workshops coming up, and then we're going to talk to Kathy from Newark, New Jersey. Glad she called here. But Every Man's Battle is January the 12th, less than a month away. Sign up, get the early birdie special. Lose It for Life, January 27th online. Stay in the comfort of your own home, right there. Intimacy and Marriage, February 16th. I don't know of anybody that's ever said, man, I regret going to that. Restore, February 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And a lot of women find they're not alone, and they find there's help in recovering and restoring your soul. Whether or not your relationship can be restored, we don't know, but you can be. And then Emotional Freedom, March the 16th. If you've got a problem, I think, between all the coaches, the therapists we have in the network, and our intensives, we're going to give you some help. But you have to call us first at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Well, Kathy from Newark, New Jersey is now on with us. Kathy, how you doing?
Hi.
What's on your mind
very well,
today?
Thanks.
Good. How could we help?
I'm calling about my nephew.
Okay.
He's a 38-year-old ex-Marine. He's divorced. He lives with his parents, who is my brother and wife.
Mm-hmm.
He has PTSD. He doesn't work or pay or help. He sleeps in the day. He has a very troubled relationship with parents. He's a Freemason. He has weapons, guns in his room. He's had alcohol and drug problems in the past. There's a lot of tension.
Mm.
So my question is, my brother had asked him to leave the house because he wasn't working or offering to pay. He would work odd jobs occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
The parents were deeply divided on whether or not to ask him to leave the house. Mom felt that she needed to, look after him so that he doesn't go back to drugs and alcohol. Dad felt he was being irresponsible. That's the first part of my question.
Okay.
The second part is, are they in danger? He's very hostile to his to his father especially. In fact, in a recent discussion, his father asked, "Am I unsafe?" 3 times, and he received no answer.
No answer from who?
From his son, my nephew.
Okay.
He was thinking with regard to the weapons that he has in his room. He just comes into the house, goes to his room, has no relationship, will come and take his food and bring it to another part of the house and eat by himself. So he's just divorced himself from them. There's a lot of tension in the home.
Okay, so your specific question for us would be what?
Is it wrong for them to ask him to leave the house, this grown man who is in need of help but is not getting it? Mm-hmm. And also, do you think that they're in danger with having him there with guns and knives in the house?
Yeah, okay. Let me just say this. Anytime you've brought somebody into your home and then they're not living up to whatever expectation you talked about, it's always good to have a contract written. But I always think it's not a situation most of the time where you just say leave, but you develop a plan with them. Hey, let's just make this plan that in 30 days or however 45 days that you're out and independent, and I'll help you with that. Seems like you have a hard time looking for a job. Well, I can help you with that. We can go online, we can look in papers, all sorts of things I can do. But I would just say not a problem to ask somebody that doesn't normally live in your home that's supposed to be an independent adult. It's not irresponsible or cruel to say we need to help you become independent at some level. And for some, that means they can be like everybody else in a neighborhood at some level. For other folks, they have to go and work at a place that helps people. Maybe they go to work at the Salvation Army or the mission or something. That's where they can thrive. So,
well, there was a recent development. Just someone they're devout Christians, the parents, and he's a professed Christian. But someone from the church offered him a job. And it started, I think, this week. It was like, so my brother backed down on asking him to leave.
I see.
Because he accepted the job.
How's the job going? How's it going?
I think he seems to like it.
Okay, so that would be a great time to have a little discussion with him. Now that you have a job, let's help you develop a little savings account or whatever where you can make a deposit on an apartment of your own, find a roommate, things like that. But let's hear from Sheri and Alice. Sheri, your thoughts on PTSD, weapons, living at home, parents feeling unsafe.
Well, it must have been scary, Kathy, to hear your grown brother ask his son 3 times, "Am I unsafe?" That must have frightened you. Because he is a grown man. And your brother's intuition is what? What do you think your brother's intuition is? Why is he even asking the question?
I think he senses that the young man, the nephew, has an explosive temper. I didn't mention that.
Right, but what do you think ultimately he is feeling? Safe or unsafe?
Unsafe.
Okay.
Unsafe.
Sure.
He not only asked the nephew 3 times, but then he had a conversation with you. Your brother is, your brother, adult man, is not trusting his intuition. He's not trusting his gut. If he feels unsafe with a nephew who has an explosive personality, has PTSD, has a history of acting out, alcohol, drugs, then remove the weapons. Put them in a safe place. Put them in, put them in the house or wherever, but lock them up in a safe. Because he won't even be able to have a conversation with this nephew if he is in fear that the nephew might use those weapons to act out with him. They're a family.
Let me just say, it's my nephew. It's his son. That's their son. It's my nephew.
It's your nephew. Okay, but it's their son. Okay, whether it's a nephew or their son. Either way, there's a young 38-year-old who has weapons with PTSD. Right. It's his boy. But do you see he's not listening to his gut? I think if he were to do what his gut is telling him, remove the weapons, put them in a safe, only that he has the lock and key for. His son is in his house. He can do that.
Yeah, he would have. It would be total war with the mother, with his wife, because his son would probably leave.
Perfect.
Storm out.
Perfect. That may be what needs to happen. If you're going to take my guns, as a 38-year-old, then I'm going to leave. All right. Well, then go ahead and leave. And when you land somewhere, we will be able to give you back your weapons.
And maybe your brother and his wife, maybe your brother could suggest to her, hey, we need to go see a marriage counselor so that we can somehow be on the same page on this and not let our son split us apart here. That could be a good preventive move right there. Alice, what are your thoughts?
I tried to get them to call you.
Yeah, I wish they would.
Kathy,
Alice, your thoughts?
Although it's such a good progression that your nephew now has a job, I don't think it should be the deciding factor for whether or not he remains in the home. My hope would be that factor is whether or not he's willing to get structured professional help for all the mental illness that he is dealing with. And as Steve pointed out, the importance of the marriage counseling as well for your brother and his wife. There's a family system dynamic that's complicating this whole situation. So it makes sense to me that your sister-in-law is hesitant because I think she can see that the root issues are not being addressed. He may be resistant to it, but if he's allowed to remain in the home, that should only happen if he's willing to get professional treatment for what he is going through.
Yeah. And no points off for getting weapons out of your own home. I mean, my wife doesn't want me to have a weapon in our home. I'm kind of weird, but not that weird. But it's okay to not want a weapon in the home. We'll be back in a minute.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Alice Benton, Dr. Sheri Keffer, and we're talking to Kathy. I was saying here at the break that it isn't a bad thing if you have someone staying with you to say, now here's some stuff we're not going to allow in the home. Drugs, a lot of alcohol, and weapons, especially if a person has an anger, rage problem and they have PTSD. No wonder that this dad feels unsafe. Sheri, Alice, what are you thinking here as we wrap this up?
Well, Kathy, we were talking, on the break. Lively conversation, right, was happening here. And I was going back to when I worked in foster care for 6 years with kids who had PTSD, who were wards of the court, who had a lot of issues. Like they had anger issues. And I know he's 38, but let me share with you the principle. Is one of the things that we asked foster families to do was to take their knives, and if foster families I know are listening to me, they're like, yeah, we had to do that. Take the knives, things that could be used as weapons, and put them in a lock box that a child could not get to. Now, what does that do? It basically neutralizes the fear in the home that a knife or a weapon might be used impulsively. And that neutralizing is an important piece when people are feeling that afraid. Your brother is feeling that afraid. So, it's not a bad thing to be proactive. Now, understand, he won't probably be able to ask his son, can I have your guns, please? I mean, he probably knows where they are, and he's going to have to just put them in a safe that he has access to. But that will immediately calm your brother's heart, and even though his wife is not in agreement, I agree with all the couples counseling, they may need to go in and have a session, but there's probably going to be very few counselors who have just said what you said that would say, yeah, go ahead and leave the weapons there because there's liability. Safety is always the best answer. Safety, safety, safety.
And Kathy, although parents have the right to ask an adult child to leave, and it's usually better for the adult child to get out on their own, not be under their parents' roof anymore, it's becoming a problem that is more and more common.
Yeah.
And when it has gone on for such a long time, it's really helpful when parents are willing to acknowledge, I haven't been handling this situation in the right way. I haven't known what to do. So rather than, son, you're the problem, you've got to leave, it's we have a problem as a family, and we parents have not known how to handle this. That's why we're developing a plan to do this differently so that we can launch you for your good and for our good as well. But there's a process to it rather than just a statement, get out.
And I think there's some amount of
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. What
I think there's some amount of manipulation by the boy because trying to play his mother off his father there as far as
and I was going to suggest to you that you talk with your sister-in-law, woman to woman. Maybe this isn't the issue the first time you guys have coffee together or whatever, but it'd be great if there was an encouragement on your part to her, and that there would be some kind of compromise both of them could make. But I would just say this: anytime an adult child comes back home, that's okay, but you must have a plan from the beginning. You must assume it's not going to go well, and then if it goes well, great. But a lot of people, they sit down and they say, here's your contribution to our bills, our food, you'll get up, you'll look for a job. All of this is laid out beforehand before they move into what they need. Once they're in the place, then it's less likely that they're going to agree to some tough things, that they're tough, but they prevent this very unhealthy adult dependence that we just continue to see more and more of. And I hope and pray that you'll be able to help your brother, your sister-in-law, and that the nephew there is not going to have to live as a victim, as a person that needs parental support for the rest of his life. I hope that job will work out. But be an encourager in this situation.
And I might just add one thing. I said I think I would have the conversation with your brother and her together so as not to triangulate, right? Because that could create some tension.
There you go.
But your sister-in-law may be doing what a lot of us do. Hi, my name is Sheri. I'm a codependent. Like that, enabling that codependency can be it can be a very unhealthy, toxic way of trying to manage her fear around her son's explosivity. So enabling somebody trying to play nice or tippy-toe in the sandbox isn't always the healthiest way to go, right? Because it just allows chaos to continue. There's all kinds of issues, right? We have to own, and I know that's what we do here. Not only at New Life do we talk about it, but we have to do our own work.
And it's okay to offer help to your adult child who then has to make a plan to leave the home, whether it's will help with the security deposit on an apartment, or if there's a level of impairment with the adult child, then it may be we'll get the coach, we'll get the counselor that will help you with your plan. And I've worked with some families where we've had to set up the transition into a mission, into the Salvation Army rehab facility, because their child has been resistant to take the steps and struggling with substance use perhaps. And so they haven't had the intellectual capacity or motivation to take those steps on their own. And so parents have to help and start setting up that secondary plan of what will take place if you won't leave.
Yeah. Actually, a child coming back home in transition can be a strong thing. It can show that there is a healthy relationship between parents and the adult child. But if you don't do it well, then you foster a very unhealthy dependency, and you have to look at yourself. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this to help them, or does it just simply make me feel better? We are out of time, and I want to ask you here, we're getting close to the year end. We have a matching fund, $200,000. Could you help us? Could you sit down and we're asking folks to match the faith of those who give, like 14-year-old Titus giving because he feels like we're really helping people. And I don't know what level you can give at, but whatever it is, we're going to be very grateful for that, and we're going to use it to reach people and then to teach them so they're aware of what's going on. Maybe they're not within themselves and within the family. And then we're going to do whatever we can to try to treat them with whatever we have available, whether it's a counselor, a coach, an intensive. That's what we do here. Transformation is the ultimate goal. If you can help us with that, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And if you need some help in one of these areas, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we're so grateful that this past year was our 35th anniversary because of support and help by so many. We're so grateful. Come join us with this. And then every time you hear somebody getting so much better, you're part of that. Thank you, Dr. Sheri Keffer. Intimate Deception is her book. Dr. Alice Benton, Understanding and Loving Your Child in a Screen-Saturated World. Steve Arterburn here. Thank you for being with us. See you next time on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again on Monday for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video? And please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.